Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that hits close to home for so many of us. How family caregivers, people who are doing some of the most important work out there, can actually find some real financial support.
Okay, let's just start with a number. 53 million. Think about that for a second. That's the staggering number of Americans who call themselves family caregivers. They're providing essential, often round-the-clock support to their loved ones.
So what's all that care actually worth? Well, AARP put a number on it, and it's over $600 billion every single year. That is a massive unpaid contribution that is literally propping up our entire health system.
And yeah, we all know it is a labor of love, but that doesn't pay the bills, right? Caregivers, on average, spend over $7,000 a year out of their own pockets. And that's not even counting the lost wages from cutting back hours at work or leaving a job completely.
So, the big question is, how do you bridge that gap? Well, it's not a pipe dream. There are actually several legitimate pathways to get compensated for this vital work. We're going to walk through the main options, starting with government support.
All right, first up, government programs. These are often some of the most widely available forms of support, but, and this is a big but, they each have their own specific rules for who qualifies.
First on the list is Medicaid. Now, when you hear Medicaid, you might immediately think of nursing homes, right? But here's the thing. Many states have this awesome option called self-directed care. And what that means is the person receiving care can actually hire and pay their own caregivers, including family members.
Okay, I know this looks like a bunch of bureaucratic steps, and it can feel kind of overwhelming. But it really just boils down to these four things. The best place to start, hands down, is your state's Medicaid office. They're the ones who can tell you if your loved one is eligible and walk you through how to apply for their specific program.
Okay, now for our veterans. The Department of Veterans Affairs has a couple of key programs, but you've really got to know the difference. The aid and attendance benefit, that's a direct cash payment added onto a pension. The key thing here is a spouse can't be the paid caregiver. The Veteran-Directed Care Program, on the other hand, gives a flexible budget for services, and with that one, a spouse can be hired and paid.
All right, moving on from government programs, sometimes the help you need is a lot closer than you think, like right at your job or in an insurance policy you or your loved one already has.
So you've probably heard of FMLA, right? The federal law that protects your job if you have to take time off. Well, paid family leave, or PFL, is kind of like its super-powered cousin. It's a state-level thing, and it doesn't just protect your job, it actually replaces some of your income so you can afford to take that time off.
So here's the current list of states, plus DC, that have these laws. And the good news is, it's growing. But here's my advice. Even if you don't see your state here, always check with your HR department. Some companies have their own paid leave policies. It never hurts to ask.
Another potential path is long-term care insurance. Now, if your loved one has one of these policies, it could be a total game changer. The trick, though, is you have to dig into the policy's fine print. You're looking to see if it specifically covers what they call informal caregivers, which is just insurance speak for family members.
Now let's be real for a second. This is not a super common option. We're talking only about 3% of adults over 50 have this kind of insurance. But for that 3%, this can be a huge, direct source of funding that empowers them to pay a family member for care.
Okay, so what if you've looked at all those options and none of them quite fit your situation? Well, don't worry. There's another really powerful option, and it's one that you can actually create yourself.
Think about it. What if you could just cut through all the red tape and create your own formal paid deal right within your family? A way to bring clarity and security for everybody. Well, you can, and it's done with something called a personal care agreement.
This is a formal contract. You might hear it called a family caregiver contract, but it's a legit legal document that clearly lays out the whole relationship. It protects you, the caregiver, from financial strain, and it protects the person getting care by making sure their needs are clearly defined.
But for this to be a real legally sound agreement, especially if you think Medicaid might be needed down the road, it has to tick these boxes. It can't just be a handshake deal. It has to be in writing for care you're going to provide, and the pay has to be reasonable for your area so it doesn't look like you're just being given a gift.
And honestly, this goes way beyond just the money. It's really about preventing family arguments or misunderstandings down the road. It validates the incredible work the caregiver is doing and just gives everyone peace of mind.
A huge part of making this agreement stick is just keeping good records. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. A simple log like this, date, what you did, how long it took, is your proof. It's invaluable for keeping things clear with family and for any legal stuff.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, right? Government programs, workplace benefits, even creating your own family contract. So, where do you start? What's your next move to figure out what's right for you?
This is kind of the reality check moment. It's so important to remember that none of these are a magic bullet, they're not one size fits all. Each one has its own lock and key, whether it's income limits for Medicaid, being a veteran for VA benefits, or just living in the right state for paid family leave.
But here's the thing. Just the act of looking into these options, that is a step toward recognizing the true value of what you do. It's about making sure you can keep providing this amazing care for the long haul, for your loved one, and for yourself.
I want you to really let this sink in. When you pursue these options, you are not asking for a handout. You are not asking for charity. You are simply helping your family member access a benefit they are entitled to, a benefit that in turn allows you to give them the best possible care.
So, that brings us to our final question, and this one's for you to take with you. Maybe it's calling your local area agency on aging. Maybe it's just sitting down to talk with your siblings. Whatever it is, what is the first, maybe even tiny step you can take to value your own care? Because recognizing your own value is the foundation of everything.